It was a pretty big week in the gaming industry that will have a huge impact on the future of our favorite medium. So, want to go over everything, of course, in this video. Assassin's Creed Shadows is also coming to an extra platform and way more. So sit back and let's go. Lots of release dates moved this week. Starting with Borderlands 4, they actually announced that the game will be coming out 2 weeks earlier than planned on September 12th, which a welcome change. I look forward to both this and Ghost of Yotei, and now we don't really have to worry about having enough time for both. We also had a pretty good looking Borderlands 4 State of Play this week, with highlights including some new movement additions like a glide so you can hover in the air. There's a grapple hook now you can use to get higher up or to remove blockades. The zones are way more open now, so no more loading screens everywhere, with secrets you can find in these zones as well, and there should be random encounters. You can also at any point summon a vehicle to get around, and they made some changes from Borderlands 3, like legendaries should be way more rare now, so actually be an event when you find them. And we can now more easily replay missions and bosses to farm them. Sure, they're not reinventing the wheel here, but it does look like a nice step up from Borderlands 3, so I'm on board. So let me know if you're looking forward to Borderlands 4 in the comments down below. A title that got delayed this week is Lost Soul Aside, the Final Fantasy looking game from Sony's China Hero project. Sony uses this to scout titles from China, give them the proper funding and help to launch their game. And I love some of the platforming and movement sequences they showed in the new pre-order trailer. Different environments look pretty cool too. Now I am curious what the difficulty will be like. They showcase some pretty cool bosses that seem pretty tough, even though the gameplay, as we know, will be more flashy and faster than your regular Souls-like. So I hope it's closer to Stellar Blade, where the bosses are still like a fun challenge, but not a beat your head against the wall for a couple of hours before you can beat them. We'll keep an eye out, of course, although the new August 29 date is certainly more crowded than the May date they had before. Although, this might change. Because yes, the biggest delay of the week is of course for GTA 6. It's now coming May 26th, 2026, and we've seen this before. Red Dead Redemption 2 was also first slated for the fall, then pushed to the spring, and then it actually came out in October, a year after the initial planned date. And there's even more riding on Grand Theft Auto 6 than Red Dead Redemption 2. This will be the biggest entertainment launch ever, sell millions of consoles, and has the potential to be in the top 10 best-selling games for the next decade plus, similar to GTA 5. So if there's anything they can fix with extra time that could make the launch more successful, they will take that time. Jason Schreier spoke with Rockstar developers, by the way, and all of them never believed a 2025 date for Grand Theft Auto 6 was in the cards. That combined with the things at stake here makes me believe that we could see history repeat itself and have GTA 6 in October 2026 instead, which I think would also be a way better time to launch the game, because if GTA Online once again releases a few weeks after GTA 6, you're in June, a summer period. One of the worst times to release any title, because people will of course be more outside or on a holiday. But yeah, I'm getting carried away. For now it is May 26th, and this means that every other game publisher can plan around that. For this year it means that we can finally hear dates for titles coming at the end of October or November, because they were first afraid that they would then be close to GTA 6. Will the new Battlefield now claim a spot this holiday season next to Call of Duty? Crimson Desert can really shine as the big November or December title for us open world fans. Outer Worlds 2 will likely be in October or so. And is that Miles Morales God of War style game real, set in Greece? With Yotei coming out in early October, you could think that Sony is saving a November spot for something else. These coming weeks and June around Summer Game Fest will be very interesting. I think we will get a ton of release dates now that everyone knows, okay, I'm safe from GTA 6. I also think that dates for particular August and September titles might be shoveled around, because that window was getting way too crowded. So would actually be good if they moved around a bit. We'll of course keep you up to date here and cover everything, so stay tuned. And real quick, I think the game of the year has now been decided, right? Expedition 33 is the highest rated game of the year, and sure, maybe Silksong, Crimson Desert, Ghost of Yotei might be my favorite game of the year, but I don't think it will win. I think Expedition 33 has a high chance of winning. I don't foresee any other title coming in. I know people want like Kingdom Come Deliverance 2 to win, and rightfully so, but like this from a small team, a new thing, it really took people by surprise. I think that will go a long way, but let me know of course what you think. Leave a like, that would also really help me out, and subscribe, because we post one of these big gaming news roundup videos every Sunday. Now let's do some quick shots, news stories I will go over quickly, starting with some sad news, because EA has cut 300 roles this week, with around 100 at Respawn, and they seemingly have cancelled a Titanfall game. Now, no, don't worry, this was not Titanfall 3, it was an early stage Titanfall universe extraction shooter. If it was still early, then cancelling it was probably for the best. This market is already really crowded and getting more crowded this year. And while maybe we all first thought that Marathon would take the crown as the new extraction shooter in 2025, it seems to be Arc Raiders. It's getting some very positive response with many people watching it on Twitch. Compare that to Marathon and it's kinda wild, like both are in alpha. Bungie really has a ton of work to do if they want to turn this around. But yeah, going back to Respawn, their plan is to once again focus more on Apex Legends. Next to Seasons, they also want to work on what's next for the franchise, although it's unclear what that means. And they also say, within the Star Wars universe, we are excited to keep building new stories, with the next chapter of the Star Wars Jedi series aiming to raise the bar again for storytelling and gameplay. Next chapter of the Star Wars Jedi series, I think they first planned a trilogy, but maybe they wanna expand that more. Seems like they got at least some ideas. Of course, first that third game though. Would be awesome if we saw it next year already, but I think a reveal and release in 2027 is more likely. Yes, maybe you already heard it, but Xbox is raising the prices across the board, and this holiday their games will be $80, likely starting with Call of Duty if I had to bet. Nintendo of course already introduced higher prices for their Switch 2 titles, with even a $10 difference if you buy the game physical versus digital, so you would think that Sony will follow suit at some point as well, right? We already know though that Ghost of Yotei is sticking to the $70 price point. This week they by the way opened the pre-orders for the collector's edition of Ghost of Yotei, and I just can't get myself to buy it. I bought all the collector's editions for all the Sony first party titles, Spider-Man, Horizon, God of War, etc. Ghost of Tsushima as well, but there you already got a mask. So to ask 250 euros for a white mask, no steelbook, I just can't get myself to buy it. It's also still not sold out, so curious if it's selling well, but I wish they would do like a cool statue, something different. But yeah, going back to game prices going up, in Europe we were actually already paying €80 for games, so it was bound to happen that in the US it would go up as well. But it of course sucks, like our hobby is getting even more expensive, and it will also hurt the sales of new games coming out, so hurt the overall industry. The market for brand new games was already shrinking because more and more people just play one live service and they get supported way better than years prior, so those people don't need new titles to play each month. So then raising the prices of those games is not helping either. But I think it's in particular the console prices that are going up, which is crazy. Again, if you bought a console at launch, you had the best deal this generation. We got a $100 increase for the Xbox Series X from $500 to $600, and the 2TB Galaxy Special Edition is now $730, which is more expensive than a PS5 Pro. While Xbox software sales are going up, their hardware sales have been going down every quarter, and they compare it to the year prior where it was also going down, so these price increases will put the console sales even more in the grave. I think this might be the biggest sign that Xbox does not care about consoles anymore if you needed any extra proof. They point to the tariffs and market conditions and the rising cost of development as the reason for these changes. And real quick, I know the other two were not really quick shots, but hey, we're having fun here. Far Cry 4 got a 60 FPS update on PS5. Ubisoft has been slowly but surely updating their previous generation games with a 60 FPS patch, like Syndicate recently, of course Origins and Odyssey before it. Well, now we can also return to Karat with a higher frame rate, which kinda cool. Let me know if you will do it in the comments down below. I'm just ready for what is next. 2026 seems to be the year that we see Far Cry 7, as it was delayed out of 2025. How will that in-game timer, where we only have a set amount of time to rescue our family, really work? It seems to be more open-ended. extended with more ways to tackle the story. We should get some movement updates. When we know more, I will of course let you know here. Already inserted some leaks here and there in the news, but we of course also got the rumor roundup where I give stars, with 3 being I believe it and 1 being let's take this with a huge grain of salt. Because, well, Assassin's Creed Shadows seems to be coming to the Nintendo Switch 2. The PEGI rating for the game now shows Switch 2 as a platform. Look, after they announced Outlaws for Switch 2 that will be launching on September 4th, I think it was obvious that more Ubisoft games would be coming over, and if Outlaws can run on the machine, then Shadows probably too. Although I'm curious what type of cuts they have to make in order to make it work. But yeah, 3 stars, I totally think they will port this and future Ubisoft titles, if possible, to the Switch 2, so maybe even Far Cry 7. Ubisoft Brazil is already asking people what other games they want to see. So I think it's a matter of time. And speaking of Assassin's Creed Shadows, we of course every Sunday video look at what's happening in this coming week. And well, we get a big new update with a free quest on May 6th. We'll of course be covering that here and more, so stay tuned. The PS Plus Essential games will be dropping with Ark Survival Ascended, Belletro, and Warhammer 40k Bolt Gun. And I'm sure there will be a lot of gaming news that I will then cover at the end of the week in the Sunday video. So subscribe to not miss it, a like would really help me out, and check out my video on the big post-launch plans that were revealed for Shadows by clicking on the screen. I will speak to you soon, goodbye.